Now, the rest of the story.
Well, in the words of another famous YouTuber, how's it going? Oh, we all know Tyson. So, this is obviously sped up, kind of. You know what? You guys can decide if I sped this up or not. It might be true. I just drive this wild. So, we got problems. Yes, big problems. Well, I think of it as a big problem. For you snowmobilers might think it's a blessing, but we got a bunch of that dreaded white stuff headed this way. And I guess out west and where I'm hearing different people saying different amounts depending on who you are and, you know, how much you really need, I guess. I don't know. Out west in Iowa, I guess they were supposed to really get hit like upwards of a foot. We were originally told at the beginning of the week, I knew this was coming, that they were supposed to be getting like 1 to 3 inches. The storm was going to kind of go up towards La Crosse, north of us. And then as the week went on, it went from 1 to 3 inches to 4 to 6 inches to, up close to a foot. So the cows need feed. Ryan has his place taken care of. And I know this seems kind of backwards, but, we're hauling hay and feed, I guess, down to my place. I mean, kind of picking and choosing what I want to take down there, because we made a lot of the fodder up at the home farm. Now, for those of you that are new, the home farm had a bunch of wind damage this year, and typically I don't really want to make a bunch of fodder bales that aren't going to be the manure spread back out onto the fields that it's being made on. Largely because, trying to get the nutrients back that you're taking off. The problem is because of the windstorm and the amount of corn, ears, everything that was left out in the field, trying to alleviate the amount of volunteer corn we're going to have next year. Granted, right off the top, we are planning on spraying our soybeans because we're doing a 50-50 switch. Everything that was corn this year, hands down, at the home farm it's going to be corn. Corn is going to beans is going to corn, largely because that is going to help us manage our volunteer corn, our unwanted volunteer corn. So by going through and making the fodder at the home farm, we're actually able to pick up a lot of those, not everything, but a fair share of those ears that were lost because of the wind. I can tell you right now, because this video is already a day old, that the cows absolutely loved that fodder bale with that corn in it. They destroyed it. How you know it's a good... Actually, I think that I have the video clip in here. Heck, we'll leave that for a little bit later on here. So this was about a 20-minute some long video I cut down. No, I take that back. This was a 50-minute video overall that I, took different pieces out and everything else. So the bale wagon, granted, seems like it's a waste of time, a waste of fuel. It makes sense to make all the feed at my place. I agree with you, but because of this year's special conditions, we didn't. Dealing with mud because right now it is raining, and it actually was starting to spit snow by the end of the day. The cows are being taken care of in that way, being fed and bedded, and I think they'll appreciate it. I have to get them out. I have to get them out of the field here. I mean, they've been out there for about 2 months, month and a half, and they did a pretty good job of cleaning the fields up, but alas, I have to start letting some of this feed go. So, gosh, I started this in with, what was I going to say? Was I going to start talking about a hay wagon? I did find one online that I really shouldn't be, largely just because I really don't need to be spending any more money right now. I got everything. I got the last actual bills sitting on my desk right now, so I'll be paying those like as soon as I hit enter and end this live stream or narration. I'm out from under a lot of that the stuff that was hanging over my head this year, largely the 76 repairs and what I had to put on my credit card for the surprise purchases, the rake and the sprayer. Those we paid off. And what I would really like to do is going into this year is actually just anything that's coming in money-wise is for the most part not spoken for, or really shouldn't be going towards this, that, or everything else. I'll have in my operating note, which is no big deal, but cattle that have to be sold, calves that have to be sold, hay, all the hay that I do end up selling from here on out is no longer spoken for. I mean, all my expenses that came with running the hay ground, the valley this year, are covered, so I don't have any expenses that the hay has to pay for. Really just thinking that I want to deposit the checks into my bank account and act accordingly. So I don't think I'm going to invest in any stocks right now, but there's one in particular that my brother was always investing in early on, was Tesla, and I think I'm going to stay away from that. So as far as taking this bale feeder, you just saw me pull it out of the lot. I'm trying to save the feed that we have. Granted, the hay that I'm picking out right now is some of our lower quality stuff, and it really didn't bother the cattle at all. The one hay bale was gone by morning, and the other bale is about 2/3 to half the way gone already. So here we are. Really don't have any decent place to stack hay down at my place at the moment. I have up above the barn, but the problem is I have that all gated up because I'm trying to get the cattle used to going above the barn towards the pole shed where they've been locked out of pretty much all summer, so I can get my gate set up and get the cows hauled out. As far as my cows go, kind of goes back to my original statement about the hay that's going to be sold here and not being spoken for. Did intend on going to the cow sale in December. There's one in the local sale the 19th of December. Was going to cull out a bunch of cows if need be and whatever else. Not going to happen, largely because we spent the last week or so fixing up that lot, the setup out of my brother's place. So going forward here, it's going to be a little while before we actually cull out any of the cows. Any of the extra money I'm able to shake loose going into the spring, I may actually go to one of the early year, February, March, whenever sales, and go look at some cows. Maybe try to buy a couple more. I don't want a huge amount of cows myself, largely just because I don't want to feel like I'm relying largely on my income from my cattle. Maybe someday. I mean, I know people ask if I'm ever going to go through the silo and at my place and get that fixed up, and I really don't have a whole lot of desire to. I see it there, and it needs a bunk put up on it. Now, if the bunk that is currently set up to it was in decent condition yet and usable, I probably would be feeding silage out of it, but I guess you could really say I'm just really undecided right now as to what I really want to do. Cattle wise, I mean, do I want to invest a bunch of money into the feed setup or keep doing what I've been doing? Buy a bunch more bale feeders, go through, weld them up, stiffen them up, and make them a little bit more stout, and just put bales out. I mean, I need a skid steer down at my place. I mean, I had to bring my dad's down, as you can see, but a common theme across a lot of my videos, if you guys have been here since the beginning when I started posting, I'm a lot more, I guess you could say I'm a lot more upfront than what Ryan posts. I mean, Ryan does say quite a bit of what is on his mind, but this is also the rest of the story where you're seeing my point of view too. And, let's just... So anyway, when it comes to knowing that you made decent fodder bales, I mean, we made them perfect this year. They were dry. They didn't get any rain on them. They were shredded, dried out after the combine went through them, raked them up and baled them. And this right here is pretty much a perfect example of that. These bales, they sat outside from the get-go. They have never been inside of a shed, so these have a little bit of weather damage from the rain that we did have. But even so, this stuff, I'll get down to the last of it. Yeah, there you go. It literally just completely falls apart. When the cattle hit it, I mean, the bale pretty well, yeah, it just falls apart, which is it's what you want for bedding. So as far as any more topics going forward here, I actually have a little bit of a list of things I need to just sit and discuss with you guys, because I have people asking about them, and my problem is I don't want to discuss about too much of certain topics that I really just don't want to share. So with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys later.